Hello and a very warm welcome to the EMJ GOLD podcast, brought to you by EMJ, your number one open access education destination for HCPs and pharma globally. Hi Jade.
Hello Isabel, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. We are being bathed in sunshine this week, which is a joy for us Brits. How have you been enjoying it?
So much. I'm slathered in sun cream, I have to say. It's I can't go outside without it, but yeah, I've been really enjoying it. Have you had much time outside recently?
I have. I've actually just been watching the Olympics at lunch.
Lovely.
They've set up a wonderful screen here in St Paul's for us to enjoy the games. So yeah, I've been very much enjoying that.
Amazing. Well, it's been busy for the Olympians, and it's also been a very busy period for us here on Gold as well.
Can we compare ourselves to Olympians?
We can try. Last week you might have seen that we published two very interesting, if I do say so myself, pieces of content to our site. That's an infographic around how pharma can optimise the customer experience journey for HCPs, and then an article that does take the topic a bit further, digging into improvements that can be made at Congress, post-Congress and beyond.
What we want to start with today is, I think, the infographic.
Yes.
So that was a really interesting piece of content. We brought together data, I know you mainly worked on it, Jade, from a range of different sources to really create a package of content that's really interesting and hopefully on the topic. This includes some data from ZS, who we will be speaking to later in the episode.
Yes, brilliant. Something for me that really stood out is the data from EPG Health, and that stated that just 35% of pharma marketers said that data and insights gathered on CX are actually acted on.
Yes, that was a very interesting statistic.
Yeah, it seems like just a massive opportunity for improvement, I think, if you ask me.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Obviously, it's quite a low percentage of insights that are being taken forward, and I think it's 18% it dropped down to for medical affairs. So we know medical affairs in particular is generating a lot of insight, and we know also from the infographic that HCPs generally do like giving feedback when asked, especially on learning opportunities. So, you know, the willingness is there, and pharma, it really would be worth pharma's time to find ways to dig through those insights a bit better, and ultimately they'd then be able to deliver better experiences.
Completely agree with you there. Did you find any other bits of the data interesting?
Yes, I think another thing we can mention was about websites. So 77% of HCPs said they are looking for websites that are a trusted provider of information. That kind of makes sense. They're also looking for free to access platforms, which also makes sense. But I think this shows the real value HCPs place on working with educational partners. Yeah. So, you know, getting that information, I hate to say it, not on pharma product websites. So I think there really is value in investing in working with these other partners rather than just putting all your eggs in your promotional website's basket.
Completely agree with you there. Speaking of feedback that we can get from HCPs, that leads us quite nicely into the article, where the infographic really explored some really handy top-line statistics. The article does go a bit deeper and questions how exactly pharma can achieve the excellent customer experience journey that it's looking to create by listening to HCPs and what they really want. In preparation for writing this piece, I actually got to speak with Helen Harrison. She's the Client Strategy Director at Tegge Health, and Robert Tegge. He's the Associate Principal at ZS. They both shared some really insightful quotes that informed the piece, and I would once again really recommend giving it a read if you're looking for some helpful tips on how to improve your HCP's customer experience. I think it's quite applicable to anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I found your piece really interesting. I hope everyone listening and reading will as well. I like the bit about helping customers feel valued from the get-go, especially in Congress, or at Congress, I should say. I know congresses could be very busy, hectic places. You know, I've been to Reuters, Next Pharma, various ones focus more on the business side of things, but there's so much opportunity, and I know that interactive elements really pull in a crowd, and this is something that the article covers. 21% of HCPs surveyed, this actually by ZS, really want to see innovative aspects such as VR technology. It was in their top 2 that they wanted to see at a stand in Congress. And I do think pharma should be thinking about how it can make exhibits more exciting. We're not looking for gimmicks, but we want congresses to feel like a place where HCPs are there to discover new science, not just be converted into customers.
But conversion is still the name of the game.
It is important.
As we state in the article, if companies can achieve Congress conversion, they're already halfway to turning an HCP into an engaged and valued customer. Now, to give us a bit more information on what customers really want post-Congress and what pharma should be doing more of, we're going to listen in to Robert himself.
What we know from a recent ZS benchmarking study that asked HCPs specifically how do they want to engage with pharmaceutical organizations before, during, and after a Congress is that HCPs really want to engage with pharmaceutical companies. 80% of them, in fact, said that they wanted to have a continued conversation or a follow-up from pharma companies within 2 weeks of the event itself. What was interesting is what they wanted to hear about. And often for this, we think of a few different types of segments of HCPs. The first is ones that attended. These are HCPs that have already had conversations. They've already seen the data. They've likely already interacted with somebody from the organization. And oftentimes they're looking to continue that conversation. Maybe there was a topic around efficacy and they want to have some follow-up information around that. Or maybe the organization said they would send them a specific data release. So there might be some contact after that. So it's very much a tactical follow-up type of discussion, a tactical follow-up types of information around topics that were presented at the Congress. The second group is ones that didn't attend. These are ones that are likely looking to hear more about the broader experience. They're looking for some highlights. They're looking for some interactions. The goal of Congress is always one, for releasing the latest information and trends, but number two is being able to network with peers. So often as we think through this segment, these are folks that might be more willing to do some sort of roundtable discussion, maybe a peer-to-peer event, something where they can get together with a network of HCPs and be able to talk about some of the latest research, et cetera. But what we know is that both groups are interested to continue the conversation, and both groups are looking to do that fairly quickly after the Congress itself. The pain point of the challenge that we see that many organizations have is more of the how do they do this. And the problem that they run into is that they take a viewpoint of how does the follow-up communication and the follow-up engagement help us? So it tends to be very company-centric and thinking through what's the message that they're trying to get out there. Leading organizations are flipping that a little bit to say, hey, what does the specific customer want from this interaction? And then from there, they're able to tailor the content. They're able to think through what the right bite-sized piece of information is. They're able to think through, is it a specific product or talking about the pipeline or some part of the data to help engage that. So it's a little bit of a shift from those one-size-fits-all infographics for maybe a specific brand to something that's a little bit more customer-centric in the sense of what was the specific information they're looking for, what's the specific types of engagement that they want to have. Leading organizations are really starting to do this. And one of the ways that they do this is leaning into some of the latest technology, especially leveraging artificial intelligence. A great use case for this is how do we take the information from posters, abstracts, everything that's shared at a Congress and be able to distill it down to some bite-sized pieces that maybe a MSL could take out, getting it down to things from product relevancy for a sales rep to take out, but really able to filter through what was presented, what may make sense for a specific customer, and being able to distill that into a more manageable package, more manageable piece of content that can ultimately be used for engagement. Many companies are currently working to pilot this, run proof of concepts, being able to understand operationally how does this work, because we recognize there's different guardrails with compliance and ethics, et cetera. But it is, as we head into 2025, a huge opportunity for organizations to be able to get the most out of the Congress itself and being able to really meet those needs of the customers and HCPs.
Wonderful to hear from ZS's Robert there. Congress conversion, it is so important and it is notoriously difficult to do. The business here at EMJ works incredibly closely with clients on delivering that exact process, so we understand how tricky it can be and how wonderful it is when it actually works out.
Yeah, exactly. But I suppose all this does beg the question of how CX will actually change, not only post-Congress, but looking into the future as well. With the global adoption of AI, I know you hate to hear it, but I can only imagine that the future will change hugely. I don't think there's any business at this point that hasn't at least experimented with automation by now. I actually read a stat the other day. It was almost 4 out of 5 tech leaders think traditional CX technologies will be dead in the next 3 years. So that's cheery.
Everything we've spoken about could be completely irrelevant.
Doesn't matter anymore. Okay. But yeah, that's according to research from Zendesk, and they're a customer experience support software. The study also went into how AI is going to streamline processes, personalize engagement, and handle a much higher volume of customer interactions, which will ultimately lead to smaller CX teams, but at the same time, a 5-fold increase in customer service interactions once that technology becomes a bit easier to access.
And so many fewer insights wasted as well.
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully. Now, as AI does begin to successfully take over routine tasks, it does beg the question of whether the industry will ever fully adopt this amazing technology. We know they're doing incredibly well, but what is to come? Well, that is a topic we are going to be discussing over the next month here on EMJ Gold. So do subscribe to our newsletter and don't miss out on that content to come. That brings us to the end of today's episode. It's been lovely chatting with you, Jade, about some fantastic pieces of content that you put together. We really hope you guys enjoyed the discussion, and of course do go and check out those pieces and let us know your thoughts on social. Till then, it's bye from us.
Bye. See you next time.